When I ask people what keeps them happy in a relationship, I often hear sex mentioned before anything else. And while intimacy is certainly an important factor, successful relationships rely on so much more. I'm Coach Tatoya, and this is Blossom in Love. In this series, I'll break down the A, B, and C's of a healthy connection. It's nearly impossible to maintain a happy and fulfilled relationship if these essentials are not present in your love life. So let's start at the top of the alphabet with the A's: acceptance, appreciation, and acknowledgement. Nothing is more exciting than a new relationship. When you're falling in love, it's like you like everything about that person. In the beginning, you can't find anything wrong. But as time goes on and you're around them more often, reality starts to set in. And you start to realize this person isn't so perfect. The honeymoon phase starts to come to an end, and we start to see people for who they really are. We learn about mistakes they've made in their past. We start getting to know their families and realize we don't really like their mama. Fellas, for the first time you see your lady without her wig and her makeup, and it's like, who the heck is this person? Ladies, for the first time your guy comes around you and he doesn't have that fresh cut, and you suddenly realize he ain't that cute.
Cause you're not that cute, and your hair is uneven, you look dusty.
So this is where the complaining begins and the comparisons start. We'll try to get them to change the way they talk, laugh, sleep, eat. If you're anything like me, because I can't stand loud chewing. And, we all have our pet peeves. I'm sure you can think of things that your partner or your ex used to do that just drove you up the wall. And so at this point, we start making these requests because we're trying to get them to fit the perfect partner that we imagined in our heads. Now imagine how it feels to have someone constantly criticize your innate characteristics or the things that you don't have much control over. After some time, you'll start to feel insecure or like you have to walk around on eggshells. And I would never encourage someone to remain in a relationship where you feel like you can't be your true self and be accepted. It's entirely too much work, and it causes too much anxiety. Now, that doesn't mean we shouldn't make positive changes, okay? Especially if there's something that you want to improve about yourself. I do not support the whole "this is me, take it or leave it" kind of attitude. We're all a work in progress, and there's always room for growth, but that's a personal journey. The first step is self-acceptance. We all have things about ourselves that we don't necessarily love, but the sooner we start accepting and embracing our past experiences, which make us who we are, the easier it is for us to find beauty in other people's flaws. So just to give an example, I'm 5'11" and some change. For those of you who have never met me before, you probably didn't realize this, but I am a 6-footer. So when I was growing up, I really struggled with my height. And it was because a lot of the guys I liked were always teasing me and calling me names. And so it wasn't until I started to see some of the benefits of being tall that I, started to get past my complex. Like, I can go to a stand-in concert and not miss any of the performance because I can see over everybody's head. I also started booking runway modeling gigs, and I always stood out in the crowd. And so at that point, I was like, okay, I can't change the fact that I'm tall. And so I have to just embrace and appreciate my height. As a teen, I started thinking about dating, and I realized, I want to be with someone who is attracted to tall women. I can't be with someone who is uncomfortable with my height or, telling me not to wear heels because I'm already tall enough. If a man can't accept me in all my glory, he's not the one for me. And so that's the kind of attitude that I developed. And I know this might sound like a silly example, but I think everyone should have the same attitude when it comes down to choosing a partner. So the same way that we've had to learn how to embrace the things and appreciate things about ourselves that we didn't necessarily like is the same thing we have to do in our relationships. No, it may not be your number one preference, but I can almost guarantee you there's some things about you that are also not his or hers top pick. And that's okay, because we are all human. Now, if you are getting to know someone and you stumble across something that you absolutely cannot digest, maybe it's on your deal breaker list or it doesn't align with one of your core values, I hate to say it, but you might need to go ahead and just make your exit at that point. If you feel like you're going to be settling, go ahead and just let it go, okay? Because it wouldn't be fair to you, and it certainly doesn't serve that person to be in a miserable or toxic relationship where they're constantly being made to feel inadequate. But if you've decided to stay, it's probably because that person adds some kind of value to your life. So we have to start to change our perspective, and rather than focus on the negatives, focus on the positives and the things that we really appreciate about our partner. For those of you who are quarantined or on lockdown, just being aggravated by your spouse, your boyfriend, or your girlfriend, this is a perfect time to go back and just start thinking about why you fell in love in the very beginning. And I want to challenge you to pull out a sheet of paper right now. You got time. We ain't got a whole lot to do right now. So pull out a sheet of paper and list 10 things that you appreciate about your partner. And if you can't come up with 10, I might be a little concerned because you should be able to think of 10 ways that your partner adds value to your life. And I think it's a great time to complete and refer back to this exercise so that we can continuously remind ourselves of how blessed we are to have such amazing people by our sides. And I want to see what you guys come up with. So leave me one in the comments and tag your partner as well. Now that we've talked about accepting our own and other people's imperfections and being appreciative of what we do have, let's start talking about putting this whole thing into action. My final point is acknowledgement. I can't tell you how important it is to acknowledge your partner's efforts, show gratitude, and express love and affection as often as you possibly can. You can never say thank you enough. You can never give too many compliments. If we spend our energy building each other up, we won't have time to tear each other down. I look forward to posting the second part of this series on the bees. Thank you so much for watching.